Welcome to the What's Your Take podcast. I'm Justin Lewis, and I'm here with Joshua Miller. Josh, what's up? Say hello to the people, man.
Welcome to the debut episode of the What's Your Take podcast.
We're number one.
It's a long time coming for this episode.
Yeah, a lot of you may know us, but if you don't, we're going to talk a little about our past and maybe a little bit of our future, too. Josh, do you want to start that conversation?
I'll take the lead on this one.
Ahead.
Okay. Who am I? I'm Joshua Miller, mass media student, senior here at Valdosta State. Been here all 4 years, right? But I've been sports writing for about 3 years now. Started at the VSU Spectator, now moved my way up and working at the Valdosta Daily Times with this professional over here with me. So
I'm just a guy.
Been covering the football team for a few years now, so I think we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I started at the Spectator as well. I started there my sophomore year. I worked my way to becoming a sports editor and eventually the editor-in-chief there. I got hired at the VDT. I'm still in school. This is my last semester, so, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about sports, man. I mean, that's what we're here for.
We're getting into Valdosta football,
yes, sir.
Specifically, and today we got a nice little handful of subjects today. We got the Albany State game, which was the season opener, just went past Saturday. Then we're going to talk about the Ohio Dominican game, first home game of the season.
First home game.
Got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it, Justin. Albany State. Justin, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
All right.
What were your impressions of that game?
So Albany State, the Blazers went up to Albany this past weekend, 38-3 win, first win of Gary Goff's career as head coach. Pretty much the only thing to say is it was a good win. It was a solid performance. This was their 16th consecutive win, dating back to 2 seasons ago, the season finale against Shorter. So it was a pretty good win. I mean, the Blazers, their opening drive went 97 yards. Their first play was a 37-yard play-action pass to Buzz Sons. I mean, it's what you wanted to see. I think It reassured a lot of people, with the coaching change from Kerwin to Goff, rather. A lot of people had questions, myself included, obviously, but I think all of the questions were answered, except for one question. We'll get to that a little bit later, though, but it was a good win. What about you?
It was a great win. My thoughts on the game, I think he did better than most people actually expected. Of course, they expected the team to do well, but how do you handle that talent that Kerwin Bell had? Gary Goff handled it very well in the 35-3 win. What was that? 38-3 win. Excuse me.
You're forgetting that field goal that happened with less than a minute remaining.
But one thing I saw at the game, and I was surprised, was how fast Goff was actually playing at first. I was like, well, maybe he's not going to get him on the line as soon as every play, like last year. It's like, as soon as the play was down, Rogan's looking for the next call, and they're getting on the line. Saw that a little bit today. And one thing I noticed in what he mentioned in the press conference or little interview after the game with us, he didn't know how fast they could actually play.
Yeah.
And that a couple penalties happened because he tried to slow them down when they can really play 2 times faster than what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that is very hard to simulate. He has been the coach since January, so all of these guys, he knows them. It's not a question of knowing your guys and knowing what they're good at. But once you get in a game, he even mentioned last night with his coach's show, you really don't know how they'll react to certain things. Albany State had a few late hits that didn't get called, and the Blazers really handled it well. I think when you're a national champion, you kind of just have that in your mind. But also, when you're a new head coach coming in, you've been with the guys in practice, but how do you play in a game, So I think they did a really good job with that. What were some of your takeaways? What are some of the things that you kind of kept with you?
We're going to talk about everybody talks about the offense. Last year, 50 touchdowns with Rogan and
54 interceptions.
Almost averaging 50 points a game they did, and it was just blowout after blowout. What doesn't get enough love is the defense. That Black Swarm.
Of course.
Lee Stalker's taken over the defense, and I think he's doing a great job at it. They only allowed 66 passing yards from Albany State, 2 interceptions. And I just think that doesn't get enough acknowledgement. And the defense really stood out to me on that game.
Yeah, a lot of those guys on defense, they were a part of the national championship team last year, so they have some big shoes to fill. A lot of those guys were tenured prior to last season, so, you know, it was a good first impression from the defense. I'll throw out a few names. Nick Moss had 9 tackles, led the game in tackles with 9 tackles. Corey Roberts, he had that interception. He had 4 tackles and a pass breakup. He really had a big coming out game. Also, AB, not that one, guys. It's Alex Brown, not the other guy that I'm not going to mention. But he had a really good showing. He had the interception, and he almost took it all the way. So the defense, they're really good. They're really good.
Speaking of those players, Justin, who was your player of the game this Saturday?
I mean, it's hard not to give it to Rogan, man.
What?
It's hard not to give it to Rogan. Rogan got the GSC player of the game, of the week. This is his 7th one in his career, which the Gulf South is, in my opinion, the hardest conference in Division II football. And to win 7 Player of the Week awards says a lot about him with time remaining. This is just his junior season. So it's pretty impressive. I think Rogan did a good job managing. He also took care of the ball. He only had, 2 incompletions in the entire game. I think I have to give it to Rogan. I feel like you were expecting a different name, but
Yeah.
But
Let me get into that real
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
I thought we would be on the same page for this one, but I'm glad you had a different take. But I'm going with your boy, really our boy, and that is Corey Roberts.
Corey,
Who
yeah.
had the interception in the
Yeah,
first
man.
half.
He's good.
And 4 tackles. He was flawless that game.
Yeah.
And here's one thing that I'm gonna bring up. We talked to Rivaris a few days ago.
Yeah, we did.
Former All-American safety from last year, not playing this year. Corey Roberts in his position. And Rivers said he's an All-American. This is coming from an All-American. So coming in this game, we're looking at Corey Roberts and boom, interception.
Yeah,
I'm giving him player of the game.
Opening half, yeah. Corey, he
Player
just
to
has
watch.
a good knack for being around the ball, being in good situations. Even though the national championship game, you remember this, he came in when Raymond Palmer went down and he made the interception as he was falling out of bounds. He threw it back in, but he was in the right place. He just made the wrong play in that instant. But I think he'll have a really good season. I just did a column, actually. I did a Pick 6 column with 6 takeaways. Go check that out on the Valdosta Daily Times.
Valdosta Daily Times.
Shameless plug. I'm not going to hide that. But yeah, Corey was one of the players who I said really had an impact. And I feel like he wasn't on the preseason all-conference team. He'll definitely be preseason all-conference at the end of the season, maybe even an All-American.
For sure, I got him all GSC, man. He's definitely a player to watch. Great game. It was a great
game. Yeah. Great start. So that was that. That was Albany State. Do you have any more thoughts on that?
No, just they did what they had to do, handle business.
Now, I do have a question. They went 1 of 2 from field goals. You know as well as I do, we were there all camp. Field goal and special teams in general has been a question because they lost their 2 seniors who punted the ball and who did kickoffs and field goals and all of that. So were you satisfied with what you saw? 50% from the kicker, Ramirez. Were you satisfied with that?
All right. Before I get into that, what y'all don't know is in our pilot episode, we talked about players we'd miss a lot. Yeah. And I mentioned Andrew Gray, all GSC kicker, the all-time leading scorer.
All-time leading scorer.
In Valdosta State history.
In conference history.
Conference history as well. He's just a dog.
Yeah.
Anyways, I said he'd be most missed because of the accuracy, the leg. You need that.
Yeah.
And what we saw in Albany State, the kickoffs, touchback after touchback, he's got a leg.
I think he had 455 yards on kickoffs.
He's booting it.
Yeah.
But that one missed field goal, maybe, first game jitters, it gets to us. Kicking, I think half the art of kicking, I think, is mental.
Yeah, definitely.
And I wasn't disappointed, but my take on Andrew Gray will be the most missed is still very relevant right now.
That's fair.
Still a long way to go.
That's fair. I feel like it left me not unsatisfied, but it kind of just left that may be something to watch throughout the season, maybe even just through the first few games, just to see if it really was just first game jitters, his first time out there. maybe that's all it was, because he did come back and hit a 27-yarder. He missed the 30-yarder early in the game, came back, hit another one in the fourth quarter. So we'll see how that goes.
Good thing about this offense, they won't be punting a lot. That's the best thing. I mean, they're going to.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Just like last year.
So Ohio Dominican. This is a team that Coach Goff played a lot at his prior school. He's very familiar with them. I believe the coach at Ohio Dominican actually was on his staff. What are you kind of expecting to see from the Blazers against Ohio Dominican?
Well, I'm going to take that note of Gary Goff being familiar with this team and bring that over here. And I'm expecting an even bigger win because, let's be honest, Tiffin University, the Valdosta State's players, it's talent. It's obvious. I feel like if he knows this program, knows the coach, knows the team, he's played them enough, why not shut them out?
Oh, so a shutout. You think they won't score at all?
Why not?
Well,
why not?
The only reason I won't go that far is because they did just have a game against Shepherd this weekend, and they beat Shepherd at Shepherd. They won 21-3. They won 24-21. So I think this team can score points on the road. Coach Goff talked a little bit about it yesterday at his coach's show, and he kind of was just saying, we really have to be awake on defense because they aren't afraid to air the ball out. So I don't know. Football is a really weird game. I was expecting Albany to score a lot more points than they did. So I maybe this take won't be a good one, but I think they'll at least be able to score 3 times. I think it'll be a competitive game. They're currently receiving votes in the top 25, so I don't think they'll be, completely shut out.
Interesting. Receiving votes. It is good that you brought up airing out the ball because that Albany State game, RPO team, they ran the ball a lot that game. They didn't look to pass often. With 2 interceptions, I wouldn't look to pass often either.
Yeah.
But, so you're thinking a win?
Yeah, of course. Blazers win at home. I'll give them 40 points to, I'll say somewhere in the 20s for Ohio Dominican.
Okay.
But the Blazers, they'll definitely win. It won't be a close contest late. I think that, we'll see some Ivory Durham as we did against Albany State.
Went 3 for 3.
Right. He went 3 for 3. He had some plays on the ground. I think that we will see a closer game than last week. I don't think it's going to be a 35-point spread, but I also don't think that they're going to blow them out.
Yeah, well, here's my take on that. First home game. I mean, the players, they know how to play. They might not know this team, but Coach Goff does. He's got his game plan. And these players, they know how to play. They know who they're dealing with. I feel like the Ohio Dominican be lucky to get 2 touchdowns. I mean, first home game.
Like I said, I was wrong last week. I thought Albany State would get at least 3. So I'm 0 for 1 in my hot takes and my takes, or whatever you want to say. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that.
Well, maybe you can get a W on this prediction. What player should we look for this Ohio Dominican game?
Well, I didn't show him love early in the show, but I'll show him some love now. LC Gallimore is going to have a big game. Leandre Gallimore.
The Lambo?
The Lambo. If you have a Lambo, please drive it. Please drive it. He had 3 receptions and was second on the team in reception yards last week. So I think he's due for maybe 2 touchdowns. I think Goff gets him active. I think, like I said, I feel like the offense is going to be humming. So what better way to do that than to get your number 1 wide receiver in action?
I definitely hear you on that. And Gallimore definitely was on my radar, but he's always on a radar. Almost a 1,000-yard receiver last year.
Of course.
He's on a radar. Wells is on a radar.
Of course. I feel like I know where you're going to go.
Well, tell me.
Are you thinking of a running back? Maybe Jamar. Maybe Jamar. Is it Jamar or is it Seth?
I'm really liking Seth McGill.
Okay. He had a score.
He had a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think the first touchdown of the season.
His first touchdown of the
season. Of the year, Seth McGill, who is your backup running back, but he plays like a starter.
Well, that's the thing. He's listed as a backup running back, but he's definitely a number 1 running back. Easily. I mean, him and Jamar are both that talented. They were the only running backs to be listed preseason All GSC. So
for good reason. But the thing that's different that Seth McGill brings to the table is his ability to catch the ball and route running.
That is true.
Not saying that Jamar can't catch.
He had a catching touchdown, receiving touchdown over the weekend.
He did. He sure did. But Seth McGill, Kerwin Bell's even told us about this. Kerwin compared him to Marshall Faulk. So, I mean, that's high praise.
That is high praise.
And he's a baller. He does everything that you want from him, even blocks well. I think he's a player to look for today, Ohio Dominican game, because of his receiving aspect, and he's going to get some more looks. Obviously.
All right, so I'm gonna jump right into this. Are you ready? Hot takes. Give me a hot take for the weekend.
Valdosta State wins this game and will now be 2-0 without giving up one touchdown.
Wow.
No touchdowns this next game.
That is a very
You
hot
heard
take.
it. I know it. You're looking like, it's crazy. But
that's a very hot take.
I mean, did you watch the Albany State game? Because if you're on the edge about it, then you didn't watch the game. But
well, I'll give my own hot take. I'm not gonna be that. That's fuego. Like that's very, very, very hot in my opinion.
What Kevin Garnett say after the championship?
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. I'm going to go a little bit more modest. You saw 2 interceptions in the Albany State game. I'm gonna say that they are going to score 2 defensive touchdowns. I won't say how.
Boy, if you don't get
I won't say how, but I will say they will score 2 defensive touchdowns. Or they'll score 2 touchdowns when they're not on offense. I'll even open it up a little bit.
Special teams too?
Special teams too.
That's still, I think mine is a lot more achievable than yours.
I don't know about that. I mean, okay, I'm thinking about it this way.
They didn't return a kickoff at all last year for a touchdown.
I'm thinking about it this way, okay? Take a walk with me. So they get 2 interceptions, right, last week.
2.
AB should have scored on that second touchdown.
He was gone. Yeah.
He was there on the 2-yard line, and he just stopped running for whatever reason. I think when you have a guy like Joe Mazzone on the defensive line, I strip sack maybe.
Okay.
You got linebackers Nick Moss, Williams. I think maybe an interception. Something across the middle, they intercepted, walk into the end zone. I just think that this defense is ready to kind of make their own statement. I know it's a young season. They've had to sit back and listen to, the offense this, the offense that. I think they're ready to say, hey, we're legit too. We're the Black Swarm.
For
nice to meet you, okay? That's just how I feel. That's how I feel.
I feel like your take kind of just backed up my take on how dominant this defense is going to be. I mean,
yeah, but I'll at least give the other team a touchdown. Your take is saying that they won't be able to get into the end zone at all.
So you would have given Albany State a touchdown before?
I gave Albany State 3 touchdowns before.
Albany State, didn't they score?
Hello?
They scored twice last year, right?
Yeah, 14? They had 14 last year. And they averaged 25 points.
One field goal on the game last Saturday. And wait. They had missed a field goal before. So,
Albany State averaged 25 points last season.
No touchdowns for 2 weeks. High standards, Coach Stalker. We're here.
I just say you guys got to score. That sounds better than holding the team scoreless.
I'm excited.
You know what, Josh? I think we need to end it there before we say anything else that just looks bad in a week. I think both of our takes were kind of out there. Any final thoughts that you want to just put out?
I'm just glad this is finally underway. First episode. I mean, y'all don't know. We took 2 pilot episodes
2 pilots,
before this one.
A lot of meetings.
It didn't look like this. It didn't look like
let
this.
me tell you, Starscream wasn't
like
here. We didn't have Groot out here. The laptop. Listen.
And we're still working.
We're still working. I hope you are too.
I'm just excited for this year. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Name is Joshua. Go ahead.
Name is Joshua.
Go ahead and throw yours out there.
You know, I'm just basic at JUSTONLEWIS_. That's it.
got the underscore in there. We don't like those.
Whatever, man.
Follow us on Twitter. Also, tune in Valdosta Daily Times if you want to just see what we do on free time.
We just write. We just write.
We just write a little bit.
We just talk a little bit.
Thanks for tuning in to the debut episode of What's Your Take podcast. See you next week.